Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Want to take a couple minutes to go over the rubric for this unit and also to clarify that I've modified our standards a little bit, our priority standards for this unit, because I want to make them more specific to our distance learning and I want to make sure that they're fair to everybody. So what I've pretty much done is I've eliminated one of the standards. We've gone down from 4 to 3. And the three essential standards for this unit are rhetorical situation, RHS2A, analysis, REO5C, and clarity, STL8B. Okay, so let me go through the proficient column and I'm going to talk a little bit how proficient is different from exceeds and developing. So for rhetorical situation, proficient means that you have accurately integrated the essential parts of the rhetorical situation inside of the introduction. Okay, so first of all, integration means that you've not only identified the parts accurately, but you've put them together into a coherent introduction. Okay, essential means the most important. So you may not have all 6 parts of the rhetorical situation that are there. Some parts you're probably going to talk about more, some parts you're going to talk about a little bit less. But so that's what integration and essential means. By now we're clear on 6 parts of rhetorical situation, or at least we should be. If you're not quite, then go back to your notes. We started with this standard actually way back in August. And so yeah, that's pretty much what proficient means. Exceeds, you're going to do all that stuff that's accurately, right? That's accurate in all the other things. But the difference here is the idea of thoughtfully. So thoughtfully kind of has a lot in it. First of all, we want really we want depth, but depth of ideas for rhetorical situation. That doesn't mean it's necessarily longer though. Okay, so thoughtfully means that you really emphasize the key parts of rhetorical situation. Thoughtfully means that you put it together in a way that really makes sense. So thoughtfully means you really present the rhetorical situation as a foundation for your analysis throughout the rest of the essay. Okay. Then down to developing. So developing does some of these things that are talked about in proficient, but it doesn't do it consistently, right? So some of the things are accurate and are integrated, but some of them aren't. Maybe there are some unimportant things or some things may be inaccurate. So it's kind of inconsistent. Analysis, REO5C. So this is about, proficient says accurately identifies and explains important rhetorical strategies the author uses to achieve a purpose. Okay, so let's just break down some of these words here. So we're looking for important rhetorical strategies, so you're thinking about that blue packet. Identifies means you found them, right? But they have to be important, not just any. So if you found a citadin, I use this as an example a lot, but is it really important? You want to ask yourself that, for example, right? So you're going to identify it. So these are going in the body paragraphs, also going in your thesis statement, right? And then also explaining, identify and explain. Explains in this case is synonymous with commentary, right? So that's really one of the most important parts of the whole essay. So accurately identifies and explains important strategies the author uses to achieve the purpose. The purpose, again, was identified here in a rhetorical situation, but we want to address part of the purpose in the topic sentence of each body paragraph as well. Right? So, for example, the author uses blank strategy in order to blank. Right? So the second blank in that case would be something about the author's purpose. Up to exceeds. Exceeds does it, again, thoughtfully. So we want really the most important strategies for the identification and especially for the explanation / commentary. So it's really thoughtful in that commentary, why it's important, why it works for the audience, why the author chooses to use this strategy, how it helps to achieve his or her purpose. Right, really depth there. Okay, developing, again, developing is inconsistent. Does some of the things are proficient, some places it doesn't. A common thing in developing for analysis is kind of shallow commentary. It doesn't really say a whole lot. Okay, and then lastly is clarity. Although this is a new standard, we've really talked a lot about this. We've really practiced this a lot in a previous standard, which was tone and style. But this is a little bit more specific to, so let's look at proficient. Words and sentences clearly communicate ideas in a majority of the text, right? So I'm looking at the word choice that you use. I'm thinking, does it make sense what you're saying here? Is it accurate? Does it make sense? I don't need you to say, well, here's what I meant here, right? So that's pretty much what I'm looking for. And notice it says a majority of the text, so there could be a couple places where it's a little bit unclear. That could be okay, but that's proficient. Going up to exceeds, so words and sentences, first of all, there's thoughtfully again, right? We see that throughout in all of the exceeds column. So it's really ideal words and sentences, first of all, to communicate into the whole text, right? That's the difference. And then down to developing. So in developing, it's inconsistent again. There may be some places that are clear, some that are unclear. Some of the words are a little bit shaky or not exactly sure what you mean. Some of those sentences are a little bit unclear too. Okay, so these are our 3 essential standards, our priority standards, and then a little bit about each of those here. So let me know if you have questions. I'll do one follow-up video that which will be a screencast again that talks about applying this rubric to the exemplar Reagan